let's turn this turkey breast into this show-stopping table centerpiece. Do you want to wow everyone at the dinner table? Then order some pizza. Everyone loves pizza. Or you could watch this video and learn how to perfectly smoke tender, juicy turkey breast in a Weber kettle. I suggest gloving up for your protection. Both hands. These two I picked up from the gentleman butcher Mick out at Gippsland Premium Meats. I always ask him for the largest one as possible at the time, and this time of year, everyone's after turkey. Now to trim the breast, I'll use a sharp knife, like this one, and I'll always remove the tender. Being very thin and small, these can tend to dry out during the smoking process. That includes this one as well. And these pointy bits down here, I tend to round them off as well, just because it does get a little bit thin down this bottom end. So just round it off a little bit, that's all. Now, don't throw any of that away. Just chuck it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it, and you can use it for a stir fry later on. Then just place the turkey breast into a tray, ready for some seasoning. Let's make a turkey rub. But to be fair, you can use this rub on any poultry you like. Into a rub shaker of your choosing, you want to add a funnel and 4 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 3 teaspoons of light brown sugar, 3 teaspoons of salt flakes, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of mustard powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Pop the lid on and shake it up so, secure the lid and then give it all a good shake up so all the ingredients are mixed in thoroughly. And by making your own rub, you're saving money for more beer timers. So it's well worth it. If you aren't asking people who wants turkey boobs for Christmas, that should be illegal. If you don't use this rub and you opt for a store-bought one or one of your own, just make sure it's not too sweet. Turkey prefers a more savoury type of rub. Now start applying an even amount of rub to the turkey breasts. Once covered, flip them over and repeat. Don't forget the edges. As you can see, I'm applying the rub from around 30 centimetres above my food. What does this do? This allows the rub particles to separate before they hit your food. That gives you much more even coverage, every bite tastes the same, and less chance of clumping. Now, once they're all covered, we can put these aside until we get the barbecue ready. Today, I'm using a 57 centimetre Weber kettle, and I'm pairing it up with some original heat beads briquettes, because I want to be utilising the snake method. I'm going to be smoking at temps of 150 degrees Celsius today. Now how I'll do this is by carefully stacking briquettes to form the snake around the outer edge of the charcoal grate. Taking your time to make it as neat as possible. I find you get much more consistent and even temps when you take a little bit more time laying out the snake. And what you can see here is the most commonly used snake, which is a 2 by 1 layer snake. This sort of setup in a Weber kettle is going to get you low and slow cooking every time. Then I'll add 14 briquettes to a chimney starter. I'll light them up, and once they're fully ashed over, I'll add them to one side of the snake, and that'll act like a fuse. I'll also add a foil tray to help with cleanup later on. I'll then grab a couple of chunks of pear wood and I'll put them on the snake, but we're not touching the lit fuel yet. And I'll keep a gap of 50 mil apart from each piece, as timber burns hotter and quicker than the charcoal does. So if you put the timber pieces together, you will get a massive heat spike. As the charcoal hits each piece though on its own, you'll get a small heat spike. That's okay. We're okay with that. Don't forget to carefully put your grill back in place. And now it's time to put the lid back on, making sure all the vents are wide open. And we're going to allow that to come up to temp. And once we reach around 30 degrees Celsius off our target temp, we're going to close down the bowl vent to about 1/4 open. And once we have a stable temp at 150 degrees Celsius, you can put your food in. If you're using this setup on a hot day, I'd recommend start closing down that bowl vent when you're about 50 degrees Celsius off your target temp, or you may overshoot it and then spend the rest of the cook adjusting the vent up and down, up and down. This week's shout out has to go to a guy whose name on YouTube is Sankel Mandevia. On my recent crispy prawns video, he stated, "Finally thought we were free of the irritating smut priest guy. Sadly, he shows up at the end. Fuck you, Sanku. That was just for you." Thanks so much, Sanku. I'll take what you said on board and file it away for future review. If you'd like a shout out in a future video, just make a stupid comment like my new friend Sanku did. Now, cooking time for this recipe will be anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, and that's really going to depend on how big your boobs are. Your turkey boobs, that is. Or for those of you who love to follow my beer timer, you're looking at a 6 beer cook. Cheers. Once the barbecue's at temp, we can insert an internal meat probe into each of the turkey breasts and then place them into the Weber on the opposite side of the lit fuel. Then place the lid back on, keeping that lid vent over our turkey. That way we ensure we are drawing the heat and the smoke over our food. And what we're aiming for is an internal temp of 68 degrees Celsius. Don't go adding strong scented woods to this like hickory and mesquite. You may as well just vomit on your food. We have been smoking for 2 hours and the internal temp of these turkey breasts has hit 68 degrees Celsius. So we can now get them out of the barbecue. First up, you want to lay down a couple of sheets of flexible metal and glove up. Boob perfection right there. Just place them straight onto the flexible metal. And now we're going to add what I like to refer to as a heap, trying to keep it kid friendly, of butter, unsalted butter, which is realistically about 100 grams per breast. Now, just wrap it up into a nice, neat, tight little parcel. Now we just want to wrap this up in an old towel and place it in an esky, not forgetting the lid. And we're going to let that sit in there for 2 hours. And the internal temp will keep climbing. It's what's known as carryover temp. It'll keep cooking and it will reach our real target temp of 74 degrees Celsius. And that's when we can class this turkey as no death turkey. Now, after the resting time, all we need to do is uncover the breast and look at them. Just remember, when looking at breasts, use eye protection. You don't want to stare at them too long. It's like looking at the sun. Quick glance, look away. All we need to do now is get the turkey breast onto a chopping board. As always, when slicing meat, you want to grab a nice large knife and then just start slicing it up. The thinner the better, so take your time. Now, don't go wasting all that juice and the butter. Oh, just drizzle that on top. And the results, super tasty, not dry, and moist. Smut!